I don't know why I clapped again. Welcome back in, guys, to the 50/50 podcast. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. The main topic I brought to the board is medieval torture devices. I have the top 10 most gruesome torture techniques from the medieval era.
Is this a comeback from last week after we both of us loosely fumbled some medieval torture devices?
Yes. We talked about the brazen bull. If you know us from One Piece, then you might know we love talking about medieval torture, and the brazen bull was one of them. And you were wondering what purpose the bull had besides torturing and why it's shaped like a bull. And we actually had a lot of people that knew the answer.
Oh, we did? I didn't get a
Yeah,
chance to
yeah,
look at
there
the
is there
comments.
is something to it. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah, sure. Hit me with it.
So this might be a little bit dark, and this is the only torture device we'll talk about. Then we'll jump to something else, so it's not all doom and gloom. The reason it's shaped like a bull is that while the person is dying and they're screaming, the echoing from the bronze bull will make it sound like an actual bull is crying out.
Uh, could couldn't that? Wait, why did I would imagine
Apparently, there's
that.
also like some religion, some religion in there too, like something about like somebody giving somebody a bull or as like a
Okay,
present.
okay,
There's like a
that.
lot more to it, but the shape of the bull also mimics the sound of a bull as the person is
Huh.
screaming for help.
Because I would imagine like you could put like the dying sound of a person inside of like a metal bowl. Like if you put a metal hippo, right? Like if I had a
Yeah,
metal hippo, it would probably sound like a hippo, right? Like what do bulls just sound like dying humans in a metal can? Like that's such a weird
I
like
don't know.
loop
I mean, I don't
around.
know how they shape it, but I mean, it is a really scary torture device. We brought this up because I was talking about things that I'm afraid of, and that's one of them. I think that's one of the ways I wouldn't want to die, believe it or not. I think that's a hot, get it hot because it's Brazen Bull. It's very a controversial take. Would not
Interesting.
want to die by the brazen blazing bull.
Yeah, that does seem kind of it just seems so niche. Like why isn't there a dragon? I would imagine you put someone in a tube and just make it look like a dragon. But then
I
it's
feel like the
like
dragon would be harder to make, right?
then a
Like it's
bull,
too
but
intricate.
like
Yeah,
a bull,
a bull is simple.
but
It's
no,
like
but a
what,
dragon's
four
just a
legs and
tube.
like, wait, what?
Like a dragon, you just put a tube and then a head, right? Like you know
Wait,
what I
what do
mean?
you? A tube and a head?
Yeah, you get like a snakish body and then you put a head.
Well, yeah, but like having it turn and twist, I feel like that's way too much work.
I just
And then
looked
you have
up
to
the
make it big enough so like somebody can like be put in it. Like
yeah,
I
I
feel like
guess, I
that
guess.
that would take a lot of work. I don't know, and it
But
wouldn't
then
be as easy to like wheel around, like because like since it has the
wait, they
neck
wheeled
that's
them
going up and down,
around?
they
In
wheel
the
it around. Yeah.
wait, why would they wheel it? I thought they just put it on top of fire. They also
Oh
wheel
no,
it.
in case the village next door has a torture going down, you know?
What?
Yeah. What do you mean? Like
No,
you think they're
like
making like a brand new bowl for everybody? Nah, like they're sharing it, dude.
I no,
Like
I would
like they
imagine.
call them up on the tin cans and they're like, hey, Jonathan Hayworth needs to be executed over here in the South Village. And you're like, okay, guys, let's wheel over the brazen bull. Like
No, what I would imagine is
pretty
each
pretty
village just
simple.
had a brazen bull. Like it kind of just like how
Oh,
everyone has a bathroom. You just put them
well,
like
it's not
everyone
like
has a
that
cemetery.
common. It's like only like big kingdoms have it, not like random villages have it, right?
Oh, this
Like
is bougie.
yeah,
See,
this is like
that's
a
what I was
bougie
getting at.
torture
This
device.
is this
Yeah,
is what I was
this isn't
getting at.
like some guy with the knapsack on his head coming over him like, oh, time to kill this guy with the brazen bull.
See, but
No,
that's
like
the
they
thing,
usually just
right?
hang
Like
people, I think, right?
the way you initially the way I thought about it was like it was just like a commonplace thing. Like it was like a
Oh no, no,
but
no. This
like
is
but
this is like high
now
treason.
the other part is now that I know it's bougie, it's like they could afford a dragon, bro. Like they made the pyramids back then. Like they could do stuff. You know
All
what I
right,
mean? The
I
bull.
need to look it up. What is the origins of the of the bull?
the, I like how you looked this up prior just to like quell all the questions I had. I just had more questions that made it more confusing.
Okay, the brazen bull was invented by Perilos of Athens somewhere between 570 and 554 BC. The bull came
Athens.
to be during the reign of Phalaris, tyrant of Acragas, Sicily, who commissioned the torture device. The bull was designed to be hollow with a fire underneath.
So,
So it looks like it was commissioned. So this is like Yeah, no, this
This
is
is
rare, dude.
someone's dream. This is their dream come true.
Yeah,
So
this guy
that
like hit some dude up and said, "Hey, I have like a custom order here, right?" So all the other ones are like AI knockoffs in a sense.
that's because when you said like he ordered something hollow and something that could be on fire, that's like anything. Like literally anything could do that. But he's just like, nope, 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 bull shaped. It has to be bull shaped. And then you said Athens. It's not like, bro, like this is Athens and Italy. These are the two, like, even to this day, the most like in terms of like creating structures of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like, and then they
So
were like, bull, yes.
it turns out that the head of the bull was designed with a system of tubes and stops so that it does sound more like a bull than normal.
So, but that doesn't. You could do that with literally any animal. Why? Like you could do that. Imagine, but like, is a bull like offensive or insulting? Like dying? Is it like bullshit? You know what I mean? Like, is it
I
be?
don't I wonder why they picked a bull.
Yeah, because I would imagine. Yeah, you with tubes, you could make any sound. That's how instruments work. Like,
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't really say why it's the
So
bull.
it
I'm
was
like looking at it right now.
solution is it was that guy's wet dream. Like that's the
Yeah, the
weird
guy
thing.
wanted a bull specifically, which I mean, bulls are kind of cool, right? Like they're big. Okay, you know what? Like what else are they gonna make that's that big based off of an animal? Like sure they could do a dragon, but that is like really hard to make. Like I feel like the bull is logical. Now you can't say
True.
a dog, right? Dogs are pretty small, cats are small. Um,
Horse.
but what I feel like the horse you'd really have to squeeze somebody in,
I
right?
guess so. I
And you
guess
need like a
so.
really high flame to hit the chest.
I
Like the
mean, they
bull,
had
like just a low flame, because the bull
true.
isn't necessarily like super high off the ground.
Yeah, yeah. Bulls are big. They are big. Like I would imagine if someone dying, you wouldn't want to like fumble around with the dead body. Honestly, we brought this up prior. The Black Plague. This thing was the solution. If they just melted people inside a bull, we probably wouldn't have had the Black Plague. When you think about it, right?
The
Like
Black Plague could have been cured by so many things early on, or
yeah,
prevented.
and this guy, he was just thinking so far ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like
570 AD, like damn,
yeah,
this
when was
guy,
the Black
yeah,
Plague? Black Plague was like yesterday, right?
yeah, it was
Technically.
like maybe 100 years ago, 200 years ago, something like
Black
that.
Plague, 1346. You know what? We
Oh, not bad.
they probably should have kept that bull a few centuries longer if they decommissioned it. That was an easy solution to all the
When
problems.
was soap invented? Let me look this up. 2800 BC. You're telling me doctors didn't want to use soap? That's
They just
crazy.
didn't care, I guess. You know what I mean? And
Uh,
I think the other part is they had gloves too, so the rich people
yeah.
had gloves. Maybe no, wait, back then.
No, I think they didn't even like to use gloves.
No, yeah, gloves is a very like Renaissance era type thing, right? Like smacking someone with the glove. That's not like Athens. Wait, when was Black Plague 1346. When is that? That's like wait. Ooh, my brain's all out of place.
Oh, the Black Plague actually brought on a new fashion trend though with the plague doctor mask.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah,
Every
it's kind of
horror
cool.
game, everything that references that some
Do
way.
you think the plague doctor mask is scary?
Is it scary?
Yeah, like to you,
Yes.
like because people put it in horror games, and I always see it. I'm like, that's kind of cool more than anything,
I
right?
just think about how like wicked that mask, like the design of it was, because I'm guessing that's the prototype for the mask that we wore. Like, imagine if those are the masks that
I
like.
mean, so dope. You know how many more people would have worn masks during COVID,
You
bro?
think so? If we were
Yeah,
forced to wear those,
dude. Yeah, no, that's so
so
dope.
like to
Like
give
with
you
the
guys
goggles and the
context, like I
nose.
know if you guys are listening, like you guys can't see it exactly, but it's just like a giant bird beak, like sticking from your face, essentially, like a very long, like a toucan beak, like essentially just on your face. And I'm guessing the structure was because like it was the safe distance away from like getting respiratory things, and then there was like a narrow opening, I guess, and so like it was thought to just be more better than you just breathing in air. I don't know why they
I
thought that
also
was the
think it's
solution.
probably because they just don't want to breathe in their own breath because it's like hot, right? It's hot and it's
Yes.
stuffy.
So
So
then
so that's why they have that long portion so that it keeps on circulating back to themselves.
it was like a two-way functional. You know
Yeah.
what? That design ahead of its time, I think,
China
right?
goaded, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Like, oh yeah, actually, I did have an idea for the podcast. Like, recently, I've
We wear
always,
plague doctor mask.
well, no, not that. I was
It's
gonna
our
say like
theme.
we should essentially is like rate certain things, and one of them would be
Yeah,
the one that came to mind when I was thinking about this was I
rating the
would
Black
pitch.
Plague.
No, we
You know
could
what?
we
In
could
terms of
rate
kill count, man,
plagues.
that thing went crazy.
75 to 200 million, crazy,
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah, that's like a whole country.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
give it like a 10 out of 10, but I also give it a 9 out of 10 because I feel like it could have been solved with good hygiene.
Yeah, soap. Like they had soap for
So
literally thousands
yeah,
of years.
L to the doctors, W for the plague.
Yeah. Yeah, W, definitely W to the plague. And it has a dope name too, right?
The
Um
Black Plague. That sounds so cool.
yeah, or the Black Death, right? Like
The Black Death, yo. That sounds
it
like an Elden Ring boss name, right? Like you're just playing a video game and it's like, oh no, it's the Black Death. Like imagine playing Pokemon, right? And then you get a message from Professor Oak saying, oh, Ash, they're all dead. It's Black Death. He's here. And you just come around, it's like a mist. It's just
it'd be
bacteria in the air.
like I think we should do this rating thing eventually for like random
Yeah.
things that shouldn't be rated ever, but
Wait,
like
okay. So I gave the Black Plague a 9 out of 10. What would you give it?
honestly, I have to put into perspective of like things, but I think I said things, but I meaning like of other diseases because some other stuff like they do some crazy things to you. Like I from memory, the Black Plague was kind of like quick, like you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
contracted it, you were sick, highly infectious. I don't remember exactly what kind of virus they said it was. I don't even know if we knew what kind of virus it was. Probably do know what kind of virus it is, honestly. Um
I think we still have samples of it to this day, right?
Something like that. Oh, okay. Bubonic plague. Plague caused by bacterium Yersinia pestis. 1 to 7 days after exposure to the bacteria, flu-like symptoms. These symptoms include fever, headaches, and vomiting, as well as swollen, painful lymph nodes. That is actually in like that. I mean,
Yeah, that's the bad one.
like swollen. You normally your lymph nodes normally swell, but then for them to be painful, that's crazy, right? Um,
Yeah.
area.
Imagine like I feel like having swollen and painful lymph nodes. Imagine if your body was the USA and then you for some reason set fire to all the firefighters, right?
Uh huh.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, technically.
Imagine every time there's a fire in your body in the
Yeah.
USA, you're like I got to deploy the firefighters. But every time a firefighter had to walk out the door from the fire station, essentially they get slapped with a laser beam, right? Or they get
Yeah.
set on fire themselves. It's like, "Oh, damn, that's not good."
Yeah, that is essentially what it's basically
The
if
magic school
someone
bus.
targeted our defense system, which is firefighters or the police, and then so you're calling 911 to put out a fire
And
or
all their tires go out.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They just can't move, like they're stuck. And then not only that, but like the tires are fighting them too. Like
The
the
tires become sentient. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's and
that's a
then
crazy
but
plot
then
development.
that's just swollen. That's just swollen. Painful is also implying that like the ramifications of whatever's happening at the police station and fire station are also just like affecting the entire town. Like you just can't
Ooh,
function.
let's say the tires and the doors to the fire station they all explode, leaving a crater in the ground. And if our body's the USA, that would cause some pain.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? That would definitely do it. Uh-huh. And then, yeah, that's and then on top of that, because that's where the prime issues are being fought at, right? That would
Yeah.
also be meaning that the prisoners escape, and then they start wreaking havoc on the rest of the town,
But
right?
some prisoners do turn into healthy members of society as well.
Good addition. So adding on to the bubonic plague, they have acral necrosis. The dark coloration of skin is another symptom. Occasionally, swollen lymph nodes known as bubbles may break open. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so like, you would suffer. Definitely suffer from this one. This is painful because it's not if it's through the other thing is you can get this, it's not a respiratory virus, it's a bacterial and thing, so you can get
Yeah.
it just from like touch, like so if someone had enough bacteria and then like you didn't wash that off, that could even seep in. That could even, like, some people, it could just go through the skin essentially, like, because you can get microabrasions, which I'm sure was common with rough clothing or something, like a paper cut. Boom, bubonic plague, you're done, right? So this is actually kind of crazy, right?
Dude, 70 to 200 million though. Like that's a
Yeah,
big number. That's a
that
big number
is
of people falling to an illness.
that's most of the United States, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
all of Bangladesh, which that might sound like not that much, but Bangladesh is the seventh most populated country in the
That's
entire
like
world.
all of Southeast Asia.
So
We'd
the
just be gone.
yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it spread through fleas, it spread through small animals, it spread through, you couldn't do much, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Without treatment, plague results in 30% to 90% of death of those who's infected. That's a crazy margin. Death, if it occurs, typically within 10 days. Okay,
That's quick.
so that's what I was getting at. 10 days is relatively quick. Though those symptoms are crazy, there's like other diseases that like slow roll the play, and like
Yeah.
they're more nefarious and scary, right? Like the things that they could do. Like I off the top of my head, I would imagine like the mad cow disease is probably like way more torturous because it messes with your mind, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Um but you know what? This is it's the Black Death. We
Yeah.
haven't had the Black Death, right? This is a solid
No,
9.4
oh,
out of
nine
10.
point four.
Yeah, I give it a 9.4, I
All right.
think.
So
Because
now that we've
I have to deduct a
what's
point.
up?
I have to deduct a few points. It
Why's
like
that?
soap, like the brazen bull would have solved it all. Like a bunch of these things would have just, because this is a bacterial virus. I do have to deduct a point for like stupidity, right? Like, it's not necessarily stupidity, but it is. But it's also like primitive times, right? Like, man, I don't know.
I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently there's a couple of doctors back in the day
Uh
during the Black Plague that advocated using soap and using, really good hygiene while going from patient to patient.
huh.
But a lot of other doctors called it heresy and actually executed.
Okay, see, that's deducting points. That's
Apparently they tortured the guy and killed him. Like, soap? Hygiene?
see, that is
And they, like,
stupidity,
actually killed the
right?
man.
Like,
Yeah.
we killed the
It's like,
people that
yo,
were
come on,
spitting
man.
the truth, and then it's like, if those doctors saved the world with soap, we have to deduct a point. Black
Like,
Death wouldn't have been. It would have been not the Black Death
it's
then.
crazy. Like, imagine being a doctor at the time and thinking that's a conspiracy theory. Like, oh, did you hear about Dr. Smith? He's using soap. He's being paid off by Big Soap.
Yeah, and hold on. Let me double
The
check this.
Dove brand is paying his family's mortgage.
Let me double check this time period. When did Ox University come into existence? There's evidence of teaching as early as 1096. So Oxford
1096.
University is supposedly in existence by the Black Plague for 300 to 400 years. That means, and why I'm saying that is that means that there's credible academia.
Scholars.
There's
You got you got wizards in that time period, and they couldn't
yes,
figure out that soap was the answer.
and it's not just one, it's like across the world, which, I'm pretty sure the bubonic plague was just Europe, right? Like, I don't think it went outside, because probably the other places were using soap. I think it was primarily a European thing.
I believe so too. Could
Yeah.
be wrong.
Damn, we're just like slandering the entire thing. It's just soap. So you know what, I'm deducting points. It's like a 7, dude. Like
Okay, so I looked up hygiene during the Black Plague, and okay, so I don't know how much of this is like soap propaganda. Like, I don't know if
big
maybe the
soap,
winners.
no.
Big Soap is coming in. The winners of history are rewriting it. Like,
The-
maybe the Dove company is over here like, oh, they didn't use soap, and maybe we're all wrong.
right.
But apparently, people back in the day, since it was like the medieval times,
Uh-huh.
they preferred to wash their hands with urine as a good option of hygiene, because they thought that since it stings, they thought it cleans off bacteria.
Their pee was stinging them. I think we
You
hit.
know, like when you don't drink water for a while and it's like kind of warm and it's like, oh, look, I'm being cleaned out.
Yeah, but it's warm. It's not it shouldn't be stinging you. That means their pee is like poisonous, bro.
Hey, to
Like,
be fair, I'm reading a headline, so maybe it's capping, but
no, I
the
believe it.
highlights that caught my eye are that washing in your own urine may sound like a decent option when you realize you're in the medieval times. That's crazy.
Nah, dude,
Dude, what's the logic behind that?
I don't know, dude. I thought so like, you know what? This is a great thing that I have been thinking about for a very long time. And I don't think this gets taught enough in schools. I feel like it should be taught in schools. Like, even as early as like 60 years ago, this what I think should matter. The fact that there were so many diseases that affected your brain past like the age 30, and like people's lifespans were like 50 for the longest time, we should suspect or like look back and recontextualize all of history through mental illness, in the sense of like syphilis is a sexual disease that if you contract it, it starts eating your brain as you age, and most people probably had syphilis. and
Yeah.
and so if you were past like 50 and you had no medical intervention whatsoever, you're probably like lobotomized like at that point. And there's so many times where we see in history like this dude lives to like 60 or 70 because he's like a royal or whatever, and then we're like, oh man, like he did this, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, it's probably because he's brainless. Like they're like all of these dudes, they probably had a bunch of diseases. I'm not even talking about like the actual like ADHD, depression, whatever. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like regular diseases that if you don't do anything about will literally affect your brain. We know that now. If you are diabetes is like a more new thing, but heart conditions like that could clog up your brain, and then you could become like a super aggressive, and then like, oh, that explains so many wars. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, and it's like the Black Plague, like that kind of stuff, like the decision making you just said.
It's too good.
Yeah. Oh
I mean,
man.
but there's also like no, I don't want to say like there's no social media or like networking where like maybe like they could try and see what works and what doesn't work and they could communicate that to other people. Like, so
Yeah,
maybe we had like one or two crack doctors that tried like, hey, like,
that's
you
the
know, a lot of
thing
things
though.
didn't work, but you know, soap worked.
So
And
this
then
is
if he spread it on like Instagram back in the medieval days, maybe they would have like had
but
some more
look what
information.
look what happened 2 years ago, bro. People
That's
were
true.
doubting soap still, like
I feel like there's always going to be
2022.
controversy no matter what the cure is. Like, I feel like this only proves that history repeats itself.
And but the other thing too, right? And this is a whole separate conspiracy about religion. We don't have to talk about this, but like essentially back then, intelligence was authority, because authority and intelligence was tied to religion. Usually the people touting the cures to humanity were the religious leaders. They were also the scientists, they were also the educated people, all in combined, right? Those are the people that controlled the masses. So one way or the other, there's like there's there's almost no excuse for these people. They had the power, right?
Yeah.
Like Dr. Fauci, we talked about it. Had he, we talked it separately, but like the things that we would have done if our scientific leaders were in charge would have been way different, because you can't use all that. That's why live in a democratic society where all the ideas come together, right? Back then it wasn't like that, and they still failed. They still failed, and they have the stranglehold on the intelligence, right? The Oxford University, half the like priests, probably. You know what I mean? Like it. Those are also the only people that could read, like back then. So like, and so when you say it's like there wasn't social media, they had something better. They had God on their side. Like they literally go outside and like, God tells you to wash your hands. Done. Everybody did it. If you didn't, you were executed or put into a bull.
Yeah.
Right?
You
Like,
don't believe in God. And then they just like drop you right there.
yeah. And but these same people were supposed to be the smartest people, and what's crazy is some of those people were spitting the truth. And
It's
like,
really
it's there for
interesting when you think
3,000
about it.
years.
So back then, like executing somebody or killing somebody was just part of your day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
like if you had a disagreement with your neighbor, if you killed him out in the woods, like maybe you'll get condemned, maybe you won't. Like it really depends on how the village feels about you.
no, I'm
Like
so
like
glad.
murder back then was like almost commonplace, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly. Like
Yeah.
people just dropped.
No, that's so think about that, right? How scary is it if like you found out your neighbor killed somebody, right? Like to right now, right? And it's like you won't even want to breathe the same air, right? Like even if they did it for justifiable reasons, right?
If it's a justifiable reason, I'd be fine.
Yeah, you'd be fine, right? But there's still a stigma when it comes to that, right? Where it's like, oh, this person actually killed somebody. You know what I mean? Like regardless of how justified it is, there's always going to be like people who you feel a little bit different in front of, and I've experienced that, except that person wasn't justified and they fled their country, and that was a very different thing. But
Hey yo.
yeah, that one. But so like quick aside, I've told my wife this. I can smell when someone has like killed somebody, and like it's
Yeah.
just like the air feels so different. And I was walking through, I think this is a high school. This is a high school in Bangladesh, and I was meeting all these people, and there
You
was
look at a
one.
kid and you're like, you smell like death, you son of a bitch.
I
Like,
found
what do you
out
do?
so this person is ultra wealthy, ultra wealthy.
Yeah.
He's run over and killed people just for sport because he has a bunch of
Wait.
cars.
So did you know this beforehand, or did you just like
No.
walk in a room and smell it?
Yeah, no, we were walking through a school, and then like 'cause it was me and my brother, and then
You're like Dexter.
another dude, the guy who's walking us through the school, and we were meeting all these people, and I have like a radar, like good person, smart person, because me and my brother, a lot of these kids wanted to come to America, study here. Me and my brother
Yeah.
always give advice and things like that, and so like we're meeting people, and my brother's like adding people to Facebook and blah blah blah, and I was too, and then there was this one dude, and I was just like, huh, what is, and then the closer I got shivers, and I just like stood very far away and just watched him, and as he talked to like my brother and stuff, and I said delete that dude right now, you don't want to know. And my brother just is like, what? And I said, just trust me, I feel like it's bad vibes. And then I think we left, and then it made international news. This dude was running people over, and we asked our friend, and he knew about it, but he
Yeah.
told us much later. And then I was like, that oh my god. When it made news, he like went to like Malaysia or Indonesia or something like that. But then something about it, there was, he still got extradited, so he left again, something like that. And it
You
was
guys
just
on the run.
yeah,
He's like
yeah,
James
actually.
Bond.
And like these people are rich enough to like buy an island or something. Like that's like they could just
All
buy an
right.
island and
So
actually hide their kid. Like that.
I have two situations for you, or
Uh-huh.
some scenarios for you.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell if somebody's killed someone through a video?
Through a video? It
Like
take
just like a different video, not like obviously like them confessing their sins or anything, but
not not the
let's
way
say in this call right now, like would you be able to look at me and be like, oh, Size killed somebody?
not the way it feels in person. I've
Okay.
experienced this like twice. I experienced it twice, and one was in like a gas station at like really late at night.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really late at night, actually. It was just like a normal time for me to go home, but it was just like later. It was like after robotics or something, I forget. And there's this, I was walking through the aisles, and I was gonna go get something from like the back where the drinks were. I need like caffeine, and then I walked back there, and I just felt like shivers. And then
Like Conqueror's hockey.
there was this dude that was just like there. He didn't
Yeah.
look scary. He did not look scary. No. But like I just kind of didn't get the drink. I was just like, "You know what? This is a bad time to be here. I'm just going to leave." And like that's, I think that was the first time I experienced it. And then the next time was, I think, in the city. I forget when, but I was with friends, and the friends like they were telling me about this person in hindsight, and I was like, oh, but it wasn't like a strong feeling because I was like far away, and there was like a party or something. And so like I just kind of like briefly, and then like yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because I feel like we were gonna play basketball or something. um and then there was like this one dude who was like somewhere, and but like like pick up, like you kind of know people in the community, that kind of a thing. And so like they knew, obviously none of this is like verified, but um and then the other part of it is actually in my school, in high school. I always we always joked about it, but a lot of the kids ended up in prison afterwards.
Yeah,
So like
it
there was this,
happens, dude.
yeah, like the year after we graduated, this girl was like an accomplice to a murder, and like the other kid went to like the other like corrective school or whatever, and so like it there was just a lot of people you could kind of understand a little bit, and it's like, you know, you kind of get a sketch, but the time I confirmed it was that time in Bangladesh recently. I was like, yo, that's what that is. And luckily I
The
haven't felt
reason
that like that.
the reason I asked if you could see it via screen or
Uh-huh.
show or video is because of the Disney Channel. Have you watched Disney Channel when you were a kid?
Yeah.
You ever watched like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody?
Uh-huh.
Mr. Mosby's a killer.
Did he actually?
Yeah.
But like,
Apparently it was an accident, but it
yeah.
was like a
I
driving
I would
accident.
imagine like there's probably like I talked to my friend about this before. It's like if you in New York City, you probably and you walk through Manhattan any
Yeah.
day, you probably pass by a few killers, a lot of convicts, like a lot of like
It happens,
sketchy
you know?
people, right? Like there's that many people in the city. I would imagine like in those scenarios, it's like if it's an accident or whatever, it doesn't give off the same thing. Like maybe I don't have like a like this person killed something, but I have like the thing for like psychopath killers. Like that's what I feel like that trigger is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
dude who runs over people because they think he thinks they're worthless. Like
That's
that's
like
like a
some anime plot.
yeah, and like that's like
Something out of a
unbelievable.
Netflix documentary.
Yeah, and then it's crazy because you think it's unbelievable, and then it's like no, it's literally in the news, and it's like confirmed, and it's like
So,
crazy.
okay, let's say you were in the same room with Hitler.
Uh huh.
Do you think you'd be able to feel his presence from afar?
Hitler. See, okay, so this is where the conversation actually started. If you think about that stigma, that feeling, right? Your next door neighbor has killed
Yeah.
someone minimum. And then you put it in the context that you brought up, which is back in the day, everybody killed. Like literally
Yeah.
if you didn't kill, you were an angel, I guess. Like maybe that's why
You
some
know
like
somebody
yeah, or
who
that
does the killing for you.
exactly, right? So then it's like I would imagine like I don't even know what era this would have stopped in. Would this have stopped in like the 1800s maybe? Like at that point that's when like people stopped having that like yeah, I could kill somebody. You know what I mean? Because that's essentially what everybody would be
The
like.
medieval days, just like I think the life expectancy was super low too because of this. Like not even just like natural death or disease. It was just like, oh, they just got killed often.
Yeah, but and then think about how many people like to the right now, right? We're talking about like school shootings.
Yeah.
That's mental illness causing deaths one way or the other, right? And like that's an extreme situation, but then you think about how commonplace that plus all these brain eating diseases existed, plus people like the onset of like any point of civilization, right? So anytime civilization got to a peaceful point so that people could age to like 40 or 50, like Rome, Greek, Rome, like anything past then, right? Because that's when civilization was like prime, Egypt too. All those people past then, not only are they killers like baseline, they also are just like crazy. And then it's like what kind of person could every if everyone is a killer, right? It's like when did we stop? You know what I mean? At what
I think
point did
just
humanity
eventually
advance?
I think eventually people just came to the understanding like, oh, we gotta stop doing this, or else the population's gonna be it's gonna go down the shitter.
But like how would we know? You know what I mean? Like I feel like even up until the 1800s there was probably like that like dog in everybody. You know what I mean? Like
I
as you
mean,
know,
yeah. I
like
mean,
like
I feel like it's still here now. It's just not as prominent.
no, but what I would say is like if I had 10 people, right? Just pick
Yeah.
10 random people out. I don't even think that you could confidently every single time get somebody that would just be, yeah, I'll kill that dude. You know what I mean? Like actually go that far. Versus like you pick out a 10 out of like the 1700s. Okay, maybe like the 1300s when the bubonic plague was. The
Yeah, we gotta go
1300s.
further back.
We go that time, you pick 10 people, all 10 of them could. All 10 of them. You know what
Yeah,
I
like a
mean?
housewife, you're like, hey, could you kill this person? Like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, like if this person stubbed my child's toe, they're dying. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's I think like I don't know at what time point it went from 10 to none. You know what I mean?
We're almost like the exact opposite now.
Yeah, as weird as it is, like we kind of are like, and that like that's a good thing for humanity. But like I'm kind of like, yo, that's kind of scary because I think like in the 1800s, probably 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 people probably, yep, switch dead. You know what I mean? Like they didn't even figure out forensic murder until like 40 years ago, right? Like people got away
Yeah.
with shit. They didn't track people like that, you know?
You know, honestly, the scariest thing about the medieval times is definitely just the torture. If you're gonna be murdered, just do it quick, man. Just axe, sword, hang, beheading. Just make it quick.
Wait, but that's medieval torture versus what you just said. That's not torture then.
Exactly. No, I'm just saying, if you had to kill somebody, just make it quick.
Yeah. So wait, we use the electric chair for that, right? Like we
Yeah,
used
now
to.
it's either like injection or electric chair, but
So
even then, like it's being like outlawed in a lot of
yeah,
places.
electric chair. So like that's against, what you're saying, right? Like that's not exactly painless, right? Electric chair is not, right?
Well, it's still better than the brazen bull.
True, true,
Like
true, true.
there's one torture device here that slowly inches a nail all the way from your leg to your to your body. Like I think that, and it's supposed to last like days. I think the electric chair is way better than all that.
That's fair.
Even a
That's fair.
firing squad is better than that. Like
I think what's crazy to me, this is part
another
of
one
my
slowly split you in half over the course of 4 days.
this is part of my anti, dentist agenda.
Yeah,
Shout out if you going to dentistry school. That's cool. But I have a personal vendetta against dentists. But the electric chair was apparently invented by a dentist.
I heard that. Yeah, I've heard about that before.
Like, and like that's my point, right? When did this dentist exist? That dude had the dog in him, right? Like he did not evolve. He probably was one of these medieval dudes. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Wait, okay, so how painful is the electric chair?
I don't. I feel like it's probably painful enough to not be necessary, right? Like if you're dying from electrocution, that's kind of crazy. Like, are
The
we gonna have
first result
to?
is on Reddit.
We're gonna have to do a rating of death, right? Like,
Death by electrocution is very painful.
see,
But that's also a Reddit. But I mean, I would assume they're not fibbing though. I feel like it would be very painful if it kills you.
yeah,
But I
anything
feel
that
like
kills you
but
is
the electric chair doesn't last super long though. It's not like over the course of like 10 days and 10 nights.
that's fair. No, I mean, neither is the brazen bull technically, but like,
The brazen bull takes a while.
wait, really? They put a
Yeah.
flame on you though. I mean, I'm not saying it's not
Okay. So
painless.
the brazen bull, it doesn't
How did we get
it
back
doesn't
here?
burn you. It actually melds your body to the bull.
Right. Okay, got it. So that's
So that
that's
that 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 takes
my
a
stomach is turning.
while.
I apologize for anyone who needed that extra because I feel like I said
Yeah,
that earlier, but like,
Par needed a
okay, but
he wanted
like,
you wanted the extra info. Like you'll end up looking like Freddy Krueger at the end.
how do we manage to talk about this
Like
topic for so
polymerization,
long?
Freddy Krueger plus bull. Like I don't think anybody wants that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so another thing about the electric chair, right? Like, it
Yeah,
just reminds me, and this is like related to like childbirth a little bit. Was did you know that like how like what how women give birth like on the chair kind of like prior to like our generation they're like lifted up with the spur thingies off to the side, that's
yeah,
not like that wasn't like natural at all. Apparently that started because of like King Henry the Third or something like that, and he just wanted to be it like to all be visible to him, like it was a convenience for the viewer kind of thing. So it
oh,
wasn't ergonomic like at all. It was counterintuitive because if you put someone in like a sort of seated position, especially against gravity, that turns their pelvis upwards, and so the baby has to go out and then front, right? So now we
yeah.
do a way different setup unless like it necessitates a specific position. And yeah, so like they're starting to do new things, but that's also just like a random old dude that just went crazy. Like in my opinion, all those kings, I probably to this day, but like all those kings back then, man, you look at
I
the
think it'd be
things that
cool to
they
be a
did.
king.
You think so? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
oh God, it
Because back then you could say any BS and get away with it,
that's
right?
true. That's true. I
Like
would
you could
just
literally like you could spout absolute nonsense and people would believe you and they'd have to follow your whim.
I agree with you, and I was only disagreeing because throughout this conversation it just bolstered my opinion on this question where when people say like if you could go back in any time, what time period would it be, right? Um Ain't no way I'd ever go back to the past because that shit is terrifying. Like like man, I just sometimes I want to believe that ancient alien stuff so that like we could just be cooler and like not the ancient alien but the super
Yeah,
advanced
just ancient
technology.
aliens.
Like
You could say hello to I don't even know what their names like they don't have names, right? I'm
what?
assuming the aliens don't have names from ancient aliens.
Oh, they have a few common ones that they refer to them. The Anakari or something like that.
I feel like I've heard
The
that. The
Anaki,
Anakari.
the
The Anaki.
something
Is it?
something like that. Oh man, you can look it up. Ancient aliens,
The
suspected
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki. That's the one. That's literally. I swear to God, for like 8 seasons, probably they were just like
Oh, they go
this
by many names. Anunnaki, Anuna, and Anaaki. So we
Anunnaki.
they have multiple names.
Yeah, like these are the
They're
people
powerful.
that
They're a group of deities.
they essentially use this name to say that like this description of people was the minimum in every single race across the world or culture around the world, the Anunnaki. So like I don't remember all of it, but man, that's a whole it's so crazy. I feel like on a lot of episodes now we talked about human development, and this one just blew my mind, right? Like the soap thing and like
Yeah,
the stupidity thing, and then they're all just like murderers.
it
Damn,
happens,
we've
bro.
come a long way.
Yeah. So, since you said we talk about a lot about humans, let's talk about something else for a change.
Okay,
Fish.
fit. Okay,
So
fish.
I have the top 10 fun facts about fish pulled up
What?
right
No,
now.
stop. So stop.
What's up?
You said you had a top 10 list at the beginning of this thing, right? You did two.
Yeah.
You did two lists, or you Googled this right now.
Oh, I had two lists ready to go.
Oh, all
I had
right.
another list too, and it was top 10 medieval farming tools.
I oh man, I want to talk
It was
about
like
farming
axe
tools.
and so it was like basic ones,
I
pitchfork.
got you.
There was
Yeah.
nothing crazy there. It was
Yeah.
unfortunate.
No, the reason why is because there's a manga or webtoon, I don't know, overgeared, and it's at a place right now where damn, this is low key a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler that like it'll still surprise you regardless of what I say, and then once it happens you kind of just know, right? Like what I just said is not that crazy. So they like highlighting off in an RPG, like off mainstream roles. So like, being a knight, being an assassin, being like a wizard or a mage, right? Is like what you normally do. There's not many people who want to be like the dish boy or something like that, right? So the main character is a blacksmith, but he ends up being really, really like broken. That's like the main character. That's basically not a spoiler either. I'm pretty sure that's in the description. And so later on, there's a legendary farmer, and this legendary farmer, bro, is literally God. Like he just like transcends to like this level where you're just like, nah, bro, I want to be a farmer now. Like I refuse to be anything else. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And
I
I
think farming's kind of dope.
yeah. And then Vinland Saga's in their farming arc right now, so it's like I appreciate farming. Farming's dope. Farming's pretty cool.
Farming is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the fish, though,
Okay, fish,
did you
fish,
know
fish,
that
fish.
fish talk to each other?
Yes.
All right. Did you know that fish have small brains?
Yes.
Fish also are cold blooded.
That makes sense.
Fish swim with fins.
Yes.
Fish have scales.
Yes.
Fish breathe with gills.
Uh-huh.
And last but not least, jellyfish aren't really fish.
This list is dumb, bro.
I think this is I think this is a list for kids.
Oh my
I think it's
goodness.
like a kindergartner's list
I had
actually.
so much hope for the
Wait,
double
wait, wait, wait,
research you
wait. Here we go.
did.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
63 fun facts about fish you do not know.
Okay.
Number 63.
Uh-huh.
The number of people who fish for sport in America is about 40 million. And it outnumbers all
What?
of the country's golf and tennis players combined.
What? 40
So 40
million?
million people in the US actually fish.
Raise your hand. Do you know anybody who fishes?
Me?
Wait, you do?
I fish like once a month, yeah.
Oh, wait.
And all my family fishes, yeah.
You didn't bring this up in the fishing episode.
Well, we were talking about Marianas Trench. I can't go to the Marianas Trench.
No, we talked about. Wait, did I not talk about the fishing thing? Oh, I talked about that on a different stream.
Yeah, no, dude, I love
Ah.
fishing. Fishing's dope.
Yeah,
Wait. It's a good source of food, vitamins, protein. Like it's great.
So we don't necessarily have to talk too much about the or it was so this is a part 2 of like someone brought up the 50/50 podcast after my stream of teching, and they're basically saying it was after the episode where I was saying like the whales are coming at me or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
like they got the impression that the fish hate me, like they like, and they're bringing it up in the context of One Piece, and I was like, I don't think it's hate. I think that they think I'm a fish. Like I think that like they're like I'm a fish magnet, and then I brought up the reason why is because before I even knew that, like before I knew swimming and ever went swimming, I fished ever since I was 3, and this one uncle of mine, not like a biological uncle, like Asian uncle, he'd always take me out fishing, and he'd love to take me because he always caught fish with me, and I always caught fish to the point where one of the last times we ever fished together, I caught 60 fish in an hour. And
That's a good rate.
yeah, and then I like at the end of that stream I remembered it wasn't even with a fishing rod because my dad didn't want to encourage me to fish, so
Wait, why?
he just because he never went fishing with me. The uncle, I only went fishing with that uncle. So then but my like soccer games or whatever, like occasionally my mom would want to go to a lake or something, so we'd go to a lake, and so we were well off, like we could have had fishing rods. In fact, I think we did have fishing rods when my dad went fishing with all of his friends, but then once he stopped, he just like we like the fishing rod went bad, didn't replace, so he just made me like like the fiberglass rods that you can like stick in your like driveway or something like that. He took one of those and attached a string to it, and it just put like a pool stick handle on it or something like that. Not a pool stick, like a noodle. Oh, one of the noodle thingies. So I fished with like a stick in basically stick in a line, and that's how I caught the 60 fish. And so like fish just like really like
Oh, were
me.
they all edible though?
Yeah, they were all
Were they
of
good
great
size?
size. Yeah, exactly. So I brought up it was a sunfish, like a redback sunfish or something like that, like some variation of sunfish. And they were all of size, and he's like, so I was too young, but like he, you know, he had the license and everything, so we'd always fish properly through him, and he taught me the stuff. I just kind of like low key forgot, and
sunfish kind of suck.
I don't know if it's the redback one, but that was the right like shapeage of what I remember as a kid. And so I don't eat seafood. Remember I said that I don't eat seafood, so like that's also why I don't go fishing, because I'm like, who's gonna eat the fish? Like I don't eat fish, but I like fishing. And but that uncle loved fish, and then like my family loves fish, so then it would just, and then so that day we caught way too many fish for us because they would go bad, so we gave them out because nobody else was able to catch fish that day. And then so I just went to each like family, I was like, here's 5 fishes, and then I just like left because we couldn't even carry that much. So
fishing is, if you're ever running low on food and money, just go fishing. I implore you. You don't even need a fishing rod.
Yeah, it's easier with the net.
Depending on where you live.
Yeah.
Like I live in Oklahoma, so there's a lot of spots you can noodle at. Which is like you just shove your hand in a bunch of rocks and then hope for the best. And you can usually pull out, I would say it's like 90% catfish here.
Oh, that's fun.
Which, depending if you like catfish, you can get it. I mean, it's pretty dangerous, but I've done it a couple times. You just shove it in, grab it up, and then you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen videos
It
about
also
that.
strengthens your grip.
Yeah, that it's hard to catch a fish barehanded, especially a catfish. But
Yeah,
like in the noodling situation, it's kind of like easier. But then it's all about grabbing. That's still the hard part.
it's about the determination.
Yeah, I hate, bro, man. Holding fish was so weird. But like when I was a kid, it was not when I was a kid. It was fine. I kind of like overcame it, so I'm like fine with it if I have to.
Yeah,
But that was always the weirdest part. I don't know what it is. Like fish kind of just make me feel interesting. It's just
dude. If I were to choose a different life, like go back in the day, medieval times, I'd be a fisherman. I'd be a
yeah,
fishmonger. I live by the
fishmonger,
coast. I fish every
bro.
day. Dude, I scale fish and I gut them and everything. Like it's so great.
I'd be that guy who got eaten by a fish if I ever like was like like those crazy
You'd be
rumors that
Ishmael,
wait, what, Ishmael?
yeah, the guy from Moby Dick.
Oh, I was like,
Is
wait,
that his
wasn't it?
name?
I don't know if that's his name, but maybe it's his
I
name.
think it is.
I only remember Moby Dick. Everything else is just a story to it.
Moby Dick fisherman name. No, it's Captain Ahab, but
Yeah,
he had another guy with them, right?
I thought, yeah, there was someone who was eaten, and then that's how the story starts or something, right?
Ishmael, yeah. Yeah, I was right. I was
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Ishmael.
bro, man.
Ishmael. I feel like it's close.
Yeah, there's something weird about the ocean. I feel like the ocean's the only place that gives me that, like, whoo, something's coming for me.
Yeah,
So, like I've
the
been in
Kraken.
jungles, or not jungles, but like deep forest, and like where there are bears. And there was actually like one time when I was a kid, there was like a bear nearby, and I don't know, the jungle just doesn't give me that same feeling as being in the deep ocean, and just like something's always coming at me in the water. You know what it kind of feels like? I feel like this the Percy Jackson series?
Yeah.
You know, like this can't be spoiled. They're actually remaking it apparently. I think they're doing a remake of it.
I think they're
Disney's.
doing a show rather than a movie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is. But so like so the premise of that movie show for listeners is that like um the different gods like Poseidon, Zeus, whatever, they had demigod children who were like hybrid kids,
Yeah, Half Blood.
half bloods, right? And so like if you were a son of Poseidon, for example, and you went on an airplane, you'd feel uncomfortable because it's like another god's territory. And so the same thing, it's like if you were a child of Zeus, you wouldn't exactly feel safe in water because Poseidon wouldn't accept you, and then being in the water was also dangerous, and it was like a sixth sense for some people. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if I remember that in the full context, but that's kind of what it feels like in the ocean. There's just like something telling me like don't come to the ocean. But then
I
I
like
get
to
the
imagine like the first day you go to the beach in an ocean, you just get eaten or something.
but the thing
Like
is,
like a shark comes out and it just kills you.
yeah, it's like a weird thing. I'm always on my toes, but then like the fish example, it's like, do the fish want to like come eat me, or do they just want to, they think I'm a fish, or like what's going on here, you know what I mean? It's something
There's
I've
something
wanted to
sus.
test before, like actually, like because one of my friends is gonna go in a cage with a shark, like in shark infested
Yeah.
waters, and she asked me, like, because she knows sharks are my favorite animals, she's like, would you want to go? And we both like are afraid of sharks. Like I am afraid of sharks, they're still my favorite. And I'm like, honestly, I feel like if I go, it might be like one of those stories where the shark actually like breaks through the chains, or the thing,
That would
because
be a crazy way to go. Like
through a
I'd
shark.
probably make like a One Piece theory out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like how why did this happen?
Par is a
Why does the ocean
fisherman.
hate Par? Yeah.
Yeah, like so in a few months, if you guys like see the channel just stops and fizzles out randomly, that's probably how it happened,
That's your
honestly.
cue to go to my channel and just watch my breakdown on what happened there. I'll do a 5-part docu series
Because
like the death of Par.
I really want to do it. I want to go, but like I will definitely like I will pay for a cage in a cage, like you know what I mean? Because apparently I heard recently the cages weren't made to keep the sharks out. They were made for the sharks not to bite through. So like
Yeah.
sharks can get through them. That's not what they
With
were
enough
made for.
determination, yeah.
Yeah. And so like I want to not be in that cage. I want to be in the cage that was made that they can't come through and see what
I like to
happens.
imagine like you accidentally put on some cologne that day that smells like krill, and the sharks are like, this guy smells great.
Nah,
It's
dude, I
time to
think
break through the cage.
it sucks because you know, like scents keep animals away, but scents bring bugs. And then man, the difference between putting on perfume or cologne, like, or being a, like, the thing is my mom can put perfume on and the bugs don't come at her, they come at me. And I'm like, the days that she doesn't put on that perfume, or like those few perfumes, I'm like, God bless. But like, I don't know what it is, but I can't. If my normal scent attracts animals, and then the other
You
scent,
put on cologne, and then all of a sudden your penis is gonna get attacked by that water parasite
exactly that.
that just latches
Did we
onto it.
talk about that on
I
this?
I don't know. I feel like it's a topic we would talk about on this,
That
but there is
might
like a
be.
I think we did on
No
like the
way.
first or
I don't
second
think.
episode.
I
I
don't.
think we did.
No, no, no. You definitely did not talk.
Because it's
Let
another
us
one of
know
those
in the.
like ocean horror stories. Like you go in water, it's not like a housewife's tale where they're like, oh, boys and girls don't pee in the water because the water parasite's gonna get you. But it's like a real thing. Like
Yeah.
apparently there is a parasite out there where if you urinate, some parasites are
We'll
attracted to
climb
your
up the
to your
stream.
urine.
Yeah, they'll climb up the stream while you're peeing. Like that's an actual thing. You
It's
could get
it's
that happen in
horrifying.
South America, I'm pretty sure, in some of the tourist
Do
locations.
you watch a lot of fishing shows
I
on the
used
telly?
to. I used
Have
to.
you ever watched River Monsters?
No, I don't watch too much of that
That
actually.
shit's so funny.
Yeah,
It's like
why?
this old guy, and he goes country to country looking for quote unquote river monsters. So essentially, how the show works is that he hears a rumor of like a giant 50-foot fish in this weird tribe's
I
village,
watched
right?
that episode. That one. That one.
No, 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 no. There's millions. Every
No, no,
episode is
I
like
know,
that.
but that exact description was the one I
Like
watched.
every episode is just it's the same basis. The guy's like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I'm in the Appalachian Mountains, and there's a tribe over here that is rumored to have seen a 50-foot beast come out of the waters,
Right.
and I'm here today to catch it." And then half of the episode is him talking to the villagers, and the villagers give their story of like, "Oh yeah, my son was playing in the water, and then all of a sudden this fish, grew arms, attacked him, and brought him down, and we never saw him again.
Hmm.
Like it killed my neighbor's wife. Like it's just the
Yeah.
craziest tales of hyping up this river monster. Like, yeah, every day at noon we throw some chickens in the water to appease the river gods and to have the monster not kill us. And then
Yeah.
the guy was
They
like,
name
yeah,
it. They name it.
oh yeah, they give it like a crazy name, and then the guy's like, all right, I'm gonna go hunt it. So I've heard it likes these foods, and he stays there for like a full like 48-hour period. Like he just stays out there fishing the entire time,
Yeah.
day and night. And throughout the entire time, one thing's clicked on my head, and I was like, this guy's not a good fisherman. Throughout the entire time, he catches maybe two or three fishes,
Uh-huh.
which sounds good on paper, but
Yeah.
he's there for days and he only catches a handful of fish. And every episode ends exactly the same. He'll catch one final fish at the end. It's slightly bigger than usual, and he's like, "Oh yes, this isn't the Black Death that they were talking about at the village, but this must be related to him. If a fish can grow to be 3 feet tall here." In length that I have in my hands, then of course it can grow to 20 feet length. And then that's how he ends up the episode. Like he never finds any river monster, but he still calls it river monster. And he has the audacity to say he's hunting these guys.
It's crazy because I feel like on TikTok I've seen more of those like stories actually come to fruition where it's like this,
Yeah.
like, because in the water, like, fish can grow, like certain fishes can just grow. And so like it's especially in
Like
like a
I'm
river
not
setting without
doubting the
predators.
village's rumors. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I kind of
I
am.
mean, if it's a series show, then most of them are probably. Did he ever, not a single time,
Not a
saw
single time has he. I mean,
what?
yeah.
I
I
feel
mean,
like I saw like a
out of
giant
like
snake one
5 or
time.
10 seasons, this guy has not caught a singular actual river monster, which I mean is hard, right? Because
Yeah,
the village probably is hyping it up. Like you probably had like a 2 foot tall fish. I don't know. I keep on saying tall. A 2 foot long fish like attacking their kid, and that kid dies. Right?
yeah.
Unfortunate. Really sad. But it's not the 20-foot monster that everybody's talking about.
You
Like it
know,
just gets blown out of proportion.
I had my own episode of River Monster. It was a lake, but there was a catfish that I swear to God was like bigger than me when I was a kid. It like
Yeah.
in the water because it came like the way it came up was vertical. So all the first time I saw it, it was just a huge mouth eating the bait that like fell from my hook, and it just disappeared. It was just, and then it was gone. And it was like, but the mouth was so big. I was like, I freaked out, ran to my brother, and then I feel like sometime later, my brother like believed me up to a certain point, right? And one
Yeah.
of the last certain times, even me like, no, 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 come here, come here, come here. I have a feeling, I have a feeling. Like then we finally saw it one of the last few times, and he started believing me. We saw it go sideways, and it was like massive. And then we from then on, I only fished in that spot, and I did manage to catch like 3 or 4 catfish, and one of them was big, but not that big. And I was like, it must be its son. I'm getting close. But I was a kid. So basically, that was the entire show. River monsters. This guy just like getting a rumor and then catching the baby brother of the fish.
And here's the thing about the rumor too. Like Par, I'd consider you a friend.
Uh huh.
Let's say you go out to the water, just the casual trip, you and your wife, and then all of a sudden you get eaten by a baby shark.
Uh huh.
It's like this big. It has no reason to actually kill you, but it doos you in. Like that is the last we see of Parvision.
Yeah.
When I go on camera and I tell a story about how you died, I'd say, man, Par lost his life to a 50-foot megalodon. You know, like I'm gonna be hyping the hell out of that story. Like Par didn't die to a baby shark. No, he was fighting the monsters from what is that? Like the Edge of Tomorrow. Like this colossal titans in the water. Like Par died to those guys.
You're so
That is how the
right.
rumor starts. Like I guarantee it.
Yeah, no, I
Nobody wants to
agree.
say their family member died to like a purse fish.
I think that relates to One Piece too, but like also, getting back onto the not One Piece. Yeah, that's it. I mean, now that we're talking about it, right? This episode is perfect because think about history in that context now. All the bubonic plague, 75 to, I mean, we could actually count those people, but like how many
Yeah.
of those rumors are that? You know what I mean? Like all of them. All of them are those rumors.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. So here's this was actually
Like
gonna
it's like the
be
soap thing. Like, is the soap thing real? Like, how big of a role did soap actually play? We have no idea.
no,
The rumors
or
just keep on getting lambasted.
the thing is like the soap thing is crazier because the only way we could have known about the soap is like through like archaeology. Like there was did they write about soap? Probably they wrote about soap,
I'm sure they wrote about soap.
which is
They wrote
even
about
crazy.
Smash
Okay,
talking a turkey.
so fair enough, right? Like soap existed, it was invented, they had it 3,000 years, right? And like the
Yeah,
soap story wasn't strong enough to like supersede everything, but like religion, you know what I mean, like these rumors that like start, and like one of them that I'm thinking about, um I was gonna include this in One Piece videos, but it's not necessarily related. So I went to Colombia recently, or like 2 years ago or a year ago, something like that, and we went to this like castle. There was like a castle, and Colombia was like, I don't know the full history of it, but it was like a highly contested like colony throughout all of history. And prominently, I'm pretty sure it was Spain like took that spot over from like the craziest people, and then they had to defend it, and they were always undermanned. And one of those people was this guy like Blas del Blazo or something. Blas del
that's a cool
Lazo.
name.
Yeah, something like that, right? This dude, this dude defended against, okay, no, no, I don't think it was Spain, because I think he was going against, it was either the English Armada or the Spanish Armada. So they had like 2,000 or 20 ships or something like that, 50 ships. He had 3, and he had a castle. He beat them, all of them, with like 150 men or something like that. I might be making up the numbers, but it was
The
some
guy
absurd.
sounds like a raid boss.
He was crazy, and like, and then get this. He came into this region perfectly fine, right?
Yeah,
I think in his first defense, he lost his arm. He lost his arm, and then
even cooler now.
after that, in another fight, he loses his leg. And then after that, he loses his eye. He lost his left eye, he lost his right arm, and he lost his left leg, I believe. And he continued to be like a fleet commander. He was essentially like undefeated in armed combat. This is how like of a monster this dude was. Like he just had nothing, and he was still beating people. And I think the last time, the one that I just said, where 2,000 or 20,000 people, I don't remember exactly, and like 20 ships, 50 ships, whatever, versus like 3 ships and this dude and 100 men. That's the one that he won. He won that at that point. And there's a statue of him like paraplegic and just and and I'm just
Barely
like,
alive.
yeah, and he's just like I was like, this is the coolest dude. And like the story about it, because I think he also like redesigned the castle. He was like an architect buff. He was like a genius through and through. And I'm like sitting there, like the way the guy was telling me the story, I'm like I want this guy to be my dad now. Like that's how dope this dude is. It sounds like heroes. He sounds like so many people from like One Piece that we know actually. And I wouldn't be surprised if that character, because of the Dressrosa, the island that it is Spanish themed. It's supposed to be similar to like a colony that was colonized. And but the point is, it's like I'm sitting there like they had documented history. Like this guy couldn't have just like made this shit up. This isn't his best friends for like decades, because this guy lived for a while. Like they can't all be making it up. So this one's real. But then how many of those stories in the past you hear about these crazy things, and they're like, nah, that did that happen, or were they what? Like, you know what I
Were
mean?
they lying to us?
Yeah, that like was it just a best friend making shit up, right? Like, and then if you paid a writer, like an historian, like two goats, like yeah, they'll take it and they'll write anything about you, right? Man, so many of our like presidents, I'm just like
Dude,
worried about.
I think that's something I would have done if I go back to the past. Not only would I be a fishmonger, I'd be a spreader of rumors, a
Yeah,
rumor spreader.
like that's the most intelligent thing to do back then. It's like the
Like you could
easiest.
spark a whole religion off of just some rumor too. Like imagine if I was just like, by the way, I saw a god like over that hill. Like you wouldn't believe it. His name was Ishmael, and he died to Moby Dick, right?
Yeah,
And then I could have like a whole story based off that book, and then be like, yo, like this is it. Like,
not just
yo, we got
that.
we got we got we got to worship Moby Dick and Ishmael.
But
Watch
like,
out.
think about it like this: how many times do we take what's written in history to be fact, right? Like, and the more times it's corroborated, it becomes more factual to us, right? Like, so if two different sources from across the nation, are all saying the same thing about this certain period, we're sure that there was a war, right? But like,
Yeah.
if you really were smart, especially further back in the day, and you knew that writing was like that was like crypto, you know what I mean, like NFT, you put your stocks in that, you could have started a religion later, like you know what I mean, based off like the written history of like what happens. Like think about nowadays how many cults that were started because of like crazy facts that we got about like this religion, and then they revived the religion, right? That all could have just been made up. It could have just been like three dudes making stuff up, like I have
We'd have like
10,000
a
followers.
D&D campaign.
Yeah, they just wrote down that stuff, right? And then it just got misconstrued. And they could say the wildest things like, oh, we convinced 10,000 people to like believe, or that the goats were giving offspring to humans with
And
people. And
then
that's how
imagine
minotaurs were made.
imagine you convince the freaking king about that too. And the king's like, "Oh, like I love this religion. Like this must be it." And then he spreads it to all his people. It's game over, dude.
Yeah. And think about how easy that was. Oh,
It's so
man.
but because like back then they had nothing else to do.
Yeah. You had
Like nowadays
money.
like there's so many distractions, there's so many like different references and books, but like back then they didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
So if,
Yeah.
if you came up with like a New York Times bestseller, like it's game over.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. And then think about like how many of those people, it was unintentional. They just wrote shit down, and like they were just had words. They had free time because they had money, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna write a crazy tale about my wife, and that wife tale ends up becoming history at that point.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
becomes the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
yeah, like how many of those people writing hieroglyphs, for example, weren't just writing fanfics or just like, you know what I mean? Like it
It's
was
like
just like
it's
the
like the
best manga.
cavemen. Like back then when they could barely draw, like I like I feel like they just drew a lot of BS.
Yeah, like dreams. Like, nowadays we still write about our dreams rather than reality. And
Yeah.
like that could easily be the past, and it's like reflected in history somewhat, but like we don't get the truth. Man, this
It's like if
is
somebody, okay, like it's like if I was the only reference for our current era right now, and somebody like came into my house like years down the road and like, oh, size house is the only thing we could find from 2023. They're gonna find a lot of weird stuff, and then they're just gonna be like, they're gonna assume so much, right? They're just missing all the
yeah.
context.
Yeah, it's just one dude. If you picked the wrong 10 dudes, right? Like it's
Yeah,
raps because you got 10 different people corroborating the same history, right? It's not just one Psy. It's now one Psy and one par, but then multiply them by 5. You get crazy stuff
you
from
start a
that.
book club, bro.
Yeah,
You
and it
start a book club.
I feel like, and the thing is, like, there's so many things that do happen. Like, how do we consolidate? You know what I mean? Like, I,
Yeah.
man, because if we both wrote a newspaper, for example, the amount of like the crazy stories we'd put in is just like so vast and numerous. How many stories back then, man?
Well, speaking of raps, I think this is about time to wrap it up. We just passed the hour mark.
All right, fair
We're
enough,
hitting
fair enough.
110.
This
And
sounds
I
good.
just, just want to throw a thank you out there to everybody who's still listening since we're at episode 4. Thank you for sticking through the medieval torture, the Black Plague, and Sir Daniel Fortescue.
Did you have other things that you wanted to bring up? Was that everything?
Well, we can bring up some more stuff later. Like I had the Great Famine listed up here too.
Oh, the Great Fam. No, I'm just wondering if like what you had planned for this episode because I like thinking about where the episode could have gone if we went that route too.
It's not really anything planned. It was just things
Uh-huh.
I thought of during the episode. Like I was like, oh, dude, Mao Zedong would be kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah, there was a few things that I was gonna bring up, but
We could save it for next time. Just
yeah,
imagine we're hyping up the Mao Zedong topic.
Wait, what is the Mao Zedong topic?
Mao Zedong is he was the perpetuator of the Great Leap Forward in China,
The
which
Great
killed around 30 people or 30 million people.
what was it was a disease?
Oh no, he kind of forced them into cannibalism.
Oh, that's a great topic next for
Yeah,
next. I have
no,
a few
it's
things
just
to
stay in
discuss.
tune for that one.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That is definitely a fun one. Wow. The okay, so this is one thing that could have changed the episode. There was a few
What's up?
things I remember mentioned throughout the thing, all the things we could have talked about in our previous conversation. But remember when I was bring up rating, like we should rate things?
Yeah.
We didn't finish that conversation. And where I was gonna say was one of the things that I was gonna rate was I would pitch a Shark Tank idea, and then we
Oh,
would rate like the invention, like what the sharks did, the future of it. We would talk about that invention because there's so many crazy inventions that are just like like either this person gave
we should do that.
$1 million to this stupid ass thing and then like gave it a golden ticket. I watched something like that. I need to know what Sai has to say about this.
We should do that. We should become the official Shark Tank podcast.
Yo, maybe so maybe not like it doesn't have to be something that we necessarily do in one episode. Maybe we could have like a segment at the end where like we go through like a random conversation that we just did,
Yeah,
and then we just have like a regular segment of like what's the invention thing today, and then we just talk about that, and then like that'll be how we close out the
that's a good
episode.
idea.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. So
So our
it
final ratings so far,
uh
I rated the bubon or the Black Plague a 9 out of 10. You rated it what, a 9.3?
no. I deducted points.
You did deduct points,
I
but
put
how
it
far
at
did it fall?
seven, dude.
7.
That's a
Oh.
7. Yeah. Stupidity really harshed, like made that so much easier. You know what I mean?
I think it's such a goofy time period. I had to give it a 9 out of 10. And it brought
Yeah.
it brought out the plague doctors. Come on, those guys are cool.
True. Okay. Oh man, I didn't think about the good that comes out of
The good character design that comes out of the Black Plague, yeah. The
that.
character development is what matters.
Like in terms
Growth.
of results, yeah, that's a decent pro. You know what? So many horror games. I'll add a point. I'll add a point. It's back at an 8. It's at an 8. The
Bet.
legacy of
That's
the
what I like to
bubonic
hear.
plague, the Black Death, it was way ahead of its time, right? And I don't know if it was, if it was one and done or like there was prior ones because hey, we don't even have the history, right? Because if you didn't end up writing it down, we don't even know
What
about
would
it.
you
So
what would you rate the okay, last one. What would you rate the Brazen Bull?
the Brazen Bull, oh, dude, that shit is like that's a 9.6. That's a
Really?
9.6. Yeah, because like it's sadistic too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a in terms of the categories that are necessary in this genre of rating, like that level, that avenue,
The sadism, yeah.
sadism,
It
yeah, that's the
enhances
word.
it.
That's important, right? Because it gives a little bit of a different twist. That definitely does. Also,
7
I
out of
haven't
10.
seen that in Detective Conan, and there's like 1,000 episodes, so I'm surprised they haven't went that route. Maybe it's so sadistic that they can't put it into like a like
They're
that
like,
show.
please no.
But people have died from the craziest thing, like from ice melting, and then that like doing some horrifying thing. Usually they do it fast and quick, and like that's how they say it. But like, uh, bro, Brazen Bull. Fact I don't see it
Pretty
in that.
bad, yeah.
I've watched a lot of murder mystery too. I don't think Brazen Bull has ever been a murder method in something, and if it has, I probably repressed it or they had to censor the logistics of what actually happened, right? Because
I
that's
had to
that's
I had to give it a
nasty.
7 out of 10 because I
What?
don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it.
What? You
I'm
were
by,
the one who was building it up for me, and I was talking about how dumb it was, and you pulled out all the facts defending it for me.
hey, just because I defend it doesn't mean I like it. I mean, I'm not a big
Wait,
fan of the
what did you
Brazen Bull.
knock points for?
Oh, I just personally don't like it. It's biased.
Oh, okay. Oh, everyone
My
has a
personal fear of
category.
the Brazen Bull knocked off 3 points.
Damn. Okay, I didn't put a personal category in my rating system. Should we put a personal? I was trying to be
I feel like we
objective.
should.
Okay, so
No,
like,
no, come on. We can't be objective. We got to add our
true.
personal flair in here.
I thought
7
the
out of 10.
logic would be where my bias is, right? My logic of the sadism, that might not be someone's category, but if you're adding like a personal, like of all the kinds of deaths, right? Like that one, yeah, that's not that high up in terms of. I mean, I just learned about it yesterday or like a week ago, so it hasn't even like I haven't really properly
It
digested
hasn't
it.
fully set in. Yeah,
Yeah, like I
the
haven't.
concept of the Brazen Bull is still
Yeah, like
fresh.
I haven't had a nightmare about it, in terms of like
Yeah,
how to die. Like if it becomes a nightmare, personal bias goes up, right? 100%. Um, man, wait, do you think? I guess if it's steel, no, but like you could probably break out of it, right? Nah, not the way
no,
they do it.
no. There's
Yeah,
a latch.
there's a latch. Yeah,
There's a whole latch and everything. That's yeah. You're not gonna break out of that one.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well, we
what's
talk
up?
about it later, but let us know in the comments if there's a Shark Tank thing that you want us to pitch. If you like that idea, one, and then yeah, more conversations. But this one, I feel like this one was probably the most concise conversation.
Yeah, we didn't go to too many places. What, like medieval torture, plagues, death, sharks,
We always
fish.
have a central theme. Like last time there was like animals and another one like AI, and it like comes back like global warming and like that kind of thing. Somehow in every episode there's like this deep meaning that we kind of skate around, and this one it's like the stupidity of history and like how dumb we could have been and probably are in reality because we still like when you said like the masking thing, right? Or no, the soap thing, like they just probably it was probably hard to convince the public, right? Like and then I was like we still have a hard time convincing the public of that, and it's that kind of like set in stone of how dumb we still are. Ugh, that's kind of it's
See,
gross.
I'm just here for the goofiness of it all.
Yeah, I
That's my
think
favorite part.
yeah, it's a fun conversation. It's a
Well,
fun
with that
conversation.
being said, thank you guys for tuning into episode 4. Let us know what was your favorite topic here. Was it fish? Was it perhaps the Black Plague? Was it the anticipation of Mao Zedong making an appearance next episode? Or is it actually what else did we talk about? Medieval torture devices. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
That knocks them all out.
yeah. We have a lot of topics based off of the last few episodes, so a lot of episodes to record.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next Mariana's Trench video.
All right, later, guys.
Peace out.